Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will describe how much should you expect to make as a data engineer. I will talk about the various factors that affect your pay and how you can actually maximize the amount of money you make and some of the tips and tricks about it. Being someone that actually has interviewed for over 500 jobs in the past 6 years, interviewed for many companies across the United States, I have a pretty good sense of what salary ranges you can make in different locations and what kind of factors affect those. And in general, I've seen, as low as making $50,000 to $70,000 as a beginner data engineer, all the way to $300,000 as a data engineer in some places like California. Now let's talk about some of the main factors that affect the salary range that you make as a data engineer. One, the location that you are working in. Secondly, the type of company that you're gonna be working for. Thirdly, the years of experience you have. And fourthly, the type of skills that you bring to the table. First, let's talk about the years of experience that a data engineer can have. So I like to categorize it in three main buckets. One is a junior developer or junior engineer who has less than 1 year or so in their experience. The second bucket is a mid-level engineer who has 3 to 5 years experience. And thirdly is a senior engineer who has more than 6 years, be 10 years level of years of experience. Another key thing I want to mention is that I'm specifically talking about the data engineering experience, not necessarily your IT experience or professional experience in general. Another factor that affects your pay rate or salary is the skills that you have. So I talked about the experience, years of experience in the last point, but having the most in-demand skills is actually much more beneficial for you in terms of negotiating a higher salary for yourself. Since if someone that has many years of experience but is kind of outdated in this IT field, they become less relevant to the job positions that are becoming more available. Let's talk about the types of companies, how that affects your salary as a data engineer. I like to categorize them in kind of one is the A league and the rest is kind of like a fair game. First, the A league is the FANG, the Facebook, Amazon, Google, Netflix, Lyft, Uber. These companies are in the bleeding edge. They pay a lot. There's a scarcity of talent. They are very, very hard to get into, some of these companies. So you can expect that they should, pay you a very high salary. And the rest of the other companies, the startups, the venture capital, the hedge funds, the financial firms, the Fortune 500 companies, these companies, they pay quite well as well. And they have very well talented people as well. But, you might find it a lot easier to get into. That's why they might not pay as well as the A League. And then you have the rest of the park, the other companies, the health insurance, the oil companies, what have you. So these are kind of how the type of companies that you work for, how it affects your salary. Now let's talk about my favorite and very last main factor is the location. The location really affects your salary a lot because the high cost of living determines the amount of money that you can or should be paid. So you have the likes of the West Coast, the Los Angeles, California area, Washington. These places have a major concentration of those top tier companies, and they also have a scarcity of talent. So they actually pay a lot, and because not only that they're trying to get talent, but also that the cost of living is so high in this area. So something you have to be mindful of is making sure you really negotiate even your moving, the accommodation, if you are getting the job offer. So let's talk about the New York, the East Coast region. This East Coast region is actually quite known for a lot of job opportunities. They have a lot of talent also available, and the need for that silicon level value of talent is not that high like you see in Silicon Valley. So you might, if you're looking for jobs in that area, you might have to reduce your expectation a little bit, because even though it's a very high cost of living in New York, it's not as expensive as the Silicon Valley. And also there is some competition in the area, and there's just so much workforce and population density. So you might not get that much money for the roles that you are looking for. Now the other location that is also worth mentioning is the rest of the US. I like to talk about the Texas area, the Midwest. These areas, they are quite low cost of living, and you can get very decent pay for the job role that you are looking for. I normally would advise, if you're a mid-level or senior level experienced individual and you want to settle down, I would advise to even look in those cities, because they are low cost of living and they actually pay quite comparable to what you can get in East Coast, in New York, Boston, or places like of that nature. So I would advise to, if you're looking to make more money, try to, branch out, be willing to relocate to this less populated area. Now let's talk about some actual scenario examples of some pay ranges that I have seen when I applied to some roles. Number one is, one position was, I believe, for Facebook in California. We are looking for a mid-level to senior engineer for between $90 to $100 an hour for a couple of months. So that's a contract role, which translates to close to $200,000. And I'm sure for even senior level data engineers, you can even make more than that. It could be in the 250 range to 300K. Now, comparatively to the East Coast, like in New York, I've seen a role like for senior, mid-level to senior data engineer for 180K, working for Spotify. they were looking for that engineer 1 year ago or 2 years ago. That is also not so bad, but if you compare the cost of living, I would rather take something less in a place like Dallas, Texas, for 150K. I might prefer that than New York. But it's up to you. It's up to the job role and where you're going in your career. I would also say that even in Houston or places like Texas, Austin, Texas, there's a lot of companies that have moved here and that also market jobs for senior engineers that are willing to pay close to 90 an hour, 100 an hour, even for living in Houston, like even living in Dallas or Austin. And that is quite good if you think about it, because you have no state tax in Texas and you also have much less cost of living. So something to think about as you kind of navigate and figure out where you want to live and where you want to go in your career. So that's it, guys. That's the end of this video. Just to summarize, I have discussed some of the main factors that affects some of the pay rate that you might see. And as you go on applying to roles in data engineering, just be aware of what level you are. A lot of the best practice is just make sure that you apply to as many jobs as possible and get a sense of what they are willing to pay. Negotiate with multiple companies. That way you know that you are not under value yourself. So good luck to you. I hope that I will bring more value like this and put in more educational videos that help you in your data engineering career. If you also are new and you want to get started in data engineering, I have listed some courses you could take on Udemy on your time. Go at your own pace, or you could go ahead and join a boot camp of your choice. So that is up to you. I still haven't done a review of a boot camp yet, but I hope that will come in the future. But stay tuned and keep liking, subscribing to this channel. I hope to bring more value.